Hi everyone, welcome back to Storytime Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the film from 2010, I Spit on Your Grave. Without any further, let's get started. Young novelist Jennifer gets herself a cabin in the woods for some peace of mind. After obtaining the keys and instructions from Earl, she sets out to write her next novel there. Upon entering a petrol station, she is approached by several of the men who work there, including Johnny, who inquires about her destination. She responds that she is lost. As Jennifer searches for the Mockingbird Trail, Johnny explains the route to her. After asking if she's staying in the cabin, and he tries to approach her, but she makes fun of the pickup line, which irritates him. After they both reach for her car keys and she unintentionally presses the panic button, he stumbles on a pail of water. His pals tease him, which infuriates him. As soon as Jennifer enters into the cabin, she begins writing. The following day, while sunbathing outside, she dismisses the strange noises she hears. Later, she hears thuds coming from the storage room, but she finds nothing there either. She returns to her seat, spills her drink down her thighs, and then undresses and washes her clothes in the kitchen, unaware that she is being filmed from outside. The following day, while out for a run in the woods, Jennifer discovers an abandoned house with a few handyman equipment, but she doesn't stay long. At home, when her toilet doesn't flush and her faucet breaks, she calls for help and an awkward lad named Matthew is sent to assist her. She gives him a kiss of gratitude, which surprises Matthew, who quickly leaves before she can even give him the money. As the scene shifts to Johnny and his pals relaxing, they discuss Matthew's experience with the new city girl and how she kissed him. Stanley, one of them, shows the others the video he shot of Jennifer through the window. Johnny is irritated by Matthew's confidence that she likes him.
That ass I want to. Oh, come on.
The buddies make fun of Johnny's clumsy interaction with her and challenge one another to win her over, but he asserts that he could win her if he so desired. At her cabin, Jennifer writes her manuscript, but eventually she grows bored. She lights up a joint and naps. Before being awakened by the sound of wood creep, she looks out, but when she doesn't see anything, she returns inside. She drops her drink as she hears a noise, notices a dead bird on the front door, and then shuts the door of the storage. When she gets back, she finds a photo of Stanley, Andy, and Johnny on her laptop. The guys then enter the room and corner her. She tells them she's phoned the police. They don't believe her because Matthew informed them she dropped her phone in the toilet earlier that day.
Speaking of, where the hell is that boy?
They call him in and question why she didn't pay him for his services, even though he fled out himself.
He ran out.
She tries offering them her money, but they're more interested in why she's out there all alone. She explains to them that it's because she's a writer and her partner will be there shortly. They don't believe this lie either. Johnny invites her to have a drink with them. They take it personally when she refuses to.
What is this shit right here?
They mockingly read passages from her book about her deceased father and even hurl lit matches at her. When they insist that she start drinking, she takes a sip and begins to apologize to Johnny for embarrassing him the other day. He tells her to show him her teeth instead and threatens to beat her with a baseball bat. He then pulls out a gun and shoves it into her mouth, and Andy does the same with a bottle of vodka. The other guys suggest that the trembling, anxious Matthew should have the girl, but Jennifer attacks them and flees into the woods before she runs into a sheriff.
Help me, please.
She tells him the assault she went through and even IDs Johnny for him. After escorting her back to the cabin, the armed sheriff checks the house to make sure the men have left. Sheriff Stork questions her about the drinks and the marijuana, which she denies owning. The lipstick on them gives it away, and he requests backup.
You have this up.
Jennifer is furious and yelling that she is the victim. Sheriff Stork claims that Jennifer is making serious accusations against boys he has known since they were children and that she hasn't been completely honest. He commands her to approach the wall and then violently grabs her. When Johnny and the others abruptly enter the cabin, the sheriff begins to play with Jennifer and gets slapped. He strikes her back forcefully, and Johnny holds her up while requesting that the agitated Matthew undress her. Johnny threatens to use the knife in his hands to cut Jennifer to pieces if he doesn't comply. Since he hasn't been aroused yet, After he cuts off hers, Matthew removes his pants, which makes them forcing Jennifer to dance. While she cries and moves around, they push and hide. As Matthew reluctantly promises to do it, they begin aggressively pinning her to the ground. After they encourage him to have his way with her, Matthew eventually begins choking her to stop her from struggling and leaps to the corner to throw up. As he walks up to her, the sheriff says Jennifer will thank him for it. Following their leaving, she enters the woods through the back door. However, she encounters the same men, who begin to suffocate her in the lake for amusement before the sheriff takes advantage of her. When she reaches for his gun, Johnny kicks it out of her hand. Even after they have all taken advantage of her, she still gets up and moves in the direction of the bridge. They allow her to get away while praising her strength, and before the sheriff shoots her, she leaps into the lake. The men wait for her body to emerge, but can't find anything. The sheriff orders them to look for her and kill her when they find her. When he gives them the task of clean the cabin and getting rid of her car, he lashes out at Stanley, who was filming the entire interaction with Jennifer without realizing it could be used as proof. As they destroy the tape, Johnny instructs his friends to watch Matthew until this situation is resolved.
This shit's over.
When Sheriff Stork gets home and his expectant wife greets him, his daughter shows him that she has been admitted into the honors program. After telling his daughter that he is proud of her, he returns to Earl to return the key. Matthew is traumatized because of what he and his pals done, and he is plagued by visual hallucinations of Jennifer. The sheriff's interrupted from watching TV with his wife when Earl calls him to tell him a woman named Barbara is looking for Jennifer, who's been gone for a month. Sheriff takes the number.
Sheriff?
The following day, Stanley approaches Andy and Johnny in terror, claiming that his camera has been stolen.
My camera!
This is significant because it contained the footage that they believed Stork had destroyed. After Stanley admits that Stork destroyed a new tape that had been replaced earlier, Johnny blames Stanley of retaining the tape. At home, Johnny hears a disturbance and rushes outside to find a dead bird on his front door. When he returns inside, the noise is repeated and there is another dead bird at his front door. This makes him believe that his buddies are playing tricks on him. The third time, he hears a noise coming from inside, takes his gun, and discovers that it's a slipper that looks like Matthew's. When he spots something moving in the bushes, he starts firing, but he finds nothing. Instead, he finds sand rubber on the ground. As everything is going on, the sheriff's wife informs her husband that a tape probably belonging to their daughter arrived in the mail today. He takes it to Johnny's house to vent his anger.
What?
They assume that Matthew is responsible for everything, so they accuse him. He then sets the tape on fire, and Sheriff Stork goes hunting with Earl but immediately murders him with his shotgun, saying that it's because of loose ends. When Matthew hears Jennifer pleading for him repeatedly from inside her cabin, due to her voice, he falls down the stairs. He finds Jennifer on the couch, but she doesn't say whether she's still alive. When Matthew begins to apologize, she first appears to understand and even offers to let him rest his head on her lap. She first consoles him, but he is unaware that she is concealing a rope. She strangles him to death while demanding an apology, but it isn't enough just yet. In the woods, as they search for Matthew, Stanley and Andy hear Matthew playing his harmonica and begin to follow that voice. As they get closer to the abandoned house Jennifer found earlier, Stanley searches outside for Matthew while Andy goes inside to make sure everything is secure. He sees Jennifer standing, but when he tries to approach her, he trips on a bear trap. As he cries out for his friend Andy, she uses a baseball bat to kick them both down. Jennifer starts recording a tied-up Stanley before feeding him a dead rat and using a fish's hook to keep his eyes open, a mockery to how he likes to watch. Back inside, Andy is restrained over a bathtub. As he apologizes, Jennifer begins violently striking the tub, suffocating him with the water, reminding him of his own cruelty. But instead of killing him, she returns to Stanley, who pleads with her to release his eyes from their awkward position. Instead of helping, Jennifer opens up a fish's guts and paints his face with it. Crows appear later on and start feasting on his eyes. Returned to Andy, she takes some acid she found around and pours it into the bathtub. Andy's submerged in the contaminated water, his face melts, and he dies shortly. When the service bell rings and Johnny steps outside the gas station, he sees a lovely woman standing there. It turns out to be Jennifer, and she gives him a hard blow. When he wakes up, she tying him up. After telling him it's date night, she starts to extract his teeth until he piss himself. While this is going on, he threatens Jennifer and says he will kill her. When she pulls out a gun and forces him to gag on it, he tells her he won't lose to a woman and even laughs at her. She takes a large pair of scissors, cuts his genitalia, and shoves them into his mouth before leaving, as he bleeds to death. While driving and talking with his family on the phone, Sheriff Stork's daughter introduces him to her teacher. He's surprised to hear her name, but she calmly informs him that she is with his family, which makes him fear.
Meeting your family.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
He drives to his house and asks his wife where she is. She tells him she went to the park with his daughter. Sheriff screams for his daughter, but can't find her. Back in his car, he's hit on the head and wakes up in the abandoned house. While a shotgun is hooked to his back door, Jennifer begins by asking him how he would feel if his daughter experienced some of the same things that he and the others did to her. Since he continues to speak to her in an unsatisfactory manner, she is forced to insert the rifle farther into his rectum.
Johnny.
She takes off the clothes on the person across from the sheriff, revealing that it's Matthew. After she connects the shotgun's cord to Matthew's wrist, the sheriff begs her as she leaves, but he then begins yelling offensive things, waking Matthew up in the process. As Matthew moves his hands, and the gun is fired. The bullet passes through the sheriff and enters Matthew's chest, killing them both instantly. The film ends with Jennifer smiling. Thanks for watching, and remember to turn on your notifications to watch more movie recaps like this one.